Hi folks, today we're going to discuss the two major kinds of Buddhist meditation. I'm Doug Smith. I'm the study director at the Secular Buddhist Association. That's secularbuddhism.org. And today we're going to discuss the two major kinds of Buddhist meditation. Just so you know, the word meditation, there isn't really a word for meditation in Pali, which is the earliest Buddhist language. The word would be bhavana, which means development, and that covers a wide range of fields of practice. But in the West, we have an idea of meditation as a particular sort of thing that you do at particular times, let's say of the day, where you sit on a cushion or in a chair and sort of intend to focus your mind and do a particular kind of thing. And that's what we're going to be discussing now, because within the Buddhist path, there are particular kinds of what we might call formal meditation. Two kinds in particular, although when you look at them in detail, they sort of they pull apart into various kinds. To make clear, I'm discussing the sort of the earliest kind of Buddhism, that we find in the Pali Canon. There are other forms of bhavana or meditation that come from later traditions, which I won't be discussing now. But in any event, all traditions at least include aspects of these as well. So the two major kinds we might call calming concentration and a sort of a focused investigation, awareness, mindfulness of the world. Let's start with the calming concentration. Within the Buddhist canon, the concentration meditations, which we might find, let's say, in Zen today, as well as in other traditions, these culminate in a particular practice which we call Jhana Meditation. And Jhana Meditation is something that is a form of absorption, what we call absorption meditation. That is, the mind becomes absorbed in the particular aspect that is the focus of that meditation. And by absorbed, we mean that the mind becomes so focused on that particular aspect that the rest of sense experience sort of drops away. And while this is not a normal state of mind, it's a state of mind that happens after hours and hours of meditation over long periods of time, nevertheless, it's not so unusual as to be the sort of thing we can't really understand. Because I think we all have experienced within our lives times of intense work, let's say where we're really working on a paper, or where we're engaged in some sporting activity, or some kind of difficult enterprise, where time seems to pass in an instant or without our even noticing it, where some loud noise may occur in the background and we aren't even hearing it, where time may pass, you look up and all of a sudden it's nighttime, that kind of thing. That is a kind of absorption. Now, it's different from this kind of meditation, but it's similar enough that I think we can try to understand it that way. Traditionally, there are 4 jhana levels, and I won't go into them all now, but the basic idea is that by practicing a kind of calming meditation over many hours, over many days, we may find ourselves experiencing a kind of joy or rapture, internal joy, that seems to come just sort of bubbling up from nowhere. If we allow ourselves to focus on that and make it the object of our meditation, that can become an entrance into the jhanas, because the first jhana is that kind of joyful, kind of rapturous feeling. Later on, the later jhanas, that very active kind of feeling gradually goes away and is replaced by something more calm, and eventually it ends up with a feeling of equanimity in the 4th jhana. Perhaps the leading teacher of jhana to lay people in the West now is Lee Brasington, and he usually says that he's not able to get most people into jhana unless he does a 10-day retreat. And that's, 10 days of meditating many, many hours a day. Even that is pretty good, especially if you want to get into deeper levels of these. It really does take quite a bit of work. And that's why, in a sense, we don't hear a lot about this kind of meditation nowadays, particularly among lay people in the West, even though within the early tradition, jhana meditation was extremely important. A kind of meditation that's related to jhana is what's termed the Brahma Viharas, or the divine abodes. That's how you translate, roughly, Brahma Vihara. This is the meditation that is, the hallmark of this meditation is loving kindness, or metta meditation. And these are 4 different kinds of meditation where we make particular kinds of emotional, positive emotional states the focus of our mind. So we try to bring up feelings of metta, that is to say, boundless friendliness or loving kindness, however you want to understand that. Try to extend that kind of feeling to all of reality within our minds, sort of fill the mind with it over periods of time. The other ones are meditations on compassion, which is a feeling of kindness towards people who are suffering. Third one is a meditation on sympathetic joy, which where we do the same kind of thing. We extend this kind of boundless friendliness to people who are experiencing success in life. This is a great antidote to jealousy, basically, because jealousy is our natural tendency to have negative feelings towards people that we feel have experienced successes that we haven't. And that's, in general, I think we all know, a corrosive kind of emotional state. By cultivating this kind of sympathetic joy, that is to say, cultivating a feeling that other people's joy is good for us too, and if we can feel sympathy with it, we're only doing ourselves a favor. If we can cultivate that kind of mental state, it's mentally healthy for us. The last of the Brahma Viharas is equanimity. The intention is to cultivate a state of equanimous friendliness towards all beings. And I mean, I think it's interesting to note that both the jhana meditations and the Brahma Viharas in the early tradition were groups of 4, and both of them ended with equanimity. This might be simply just some random occurrence, but I think there's probably more to it behind that. Both of these kinds of meditation fit under the calming concentration meditation. Some people do use metta-type meditation to enter into jhana, for instance. They tend to calm the mind, focus the mind on a particular feeling, on a particular kind of either mental sensation or emotion. The other main kind of Buddhist meditation I think we'll probably be more familiar with, many of us, it's mindfulness meditation. Mindfulness meditation is perhaps the most famous kind of meditation in the West, with many of us knowing MBSR, mindfulness-based stress reduction, that comes out of Kabat-Zinn, which was developed out of this kind of mindfulness meditation from the early Buddhist tradition. And this is where we try to enter into an open and non-judgmental kind of awareness of whatever is going on in the mind and body at that moment. And this kind of meditation is particularly popular nowadays because it doesn't require us to sit many, many hours in meditation in order to achieve it the way we must with, let's say, jhana. Mindfulness meditation is something that we can do for even 1 minute at home. We can relax ourselves, we can close our eyes if we wish, we can focus on the feelings in the mind and the body. This itself is actually relaxing, and so there is some similarity between the jhanic type meditation, the calming concentration meditation, and the mindfulness. They both do require calm. There is a certain unification in the two for that reason. Why do we do these meditations? In particular, why do we do mindfulness meditation? There are many reasons why we might. I think probably the first and foremost is to try to get to know our own minds, the content of our own minds and bodies. We try to become aware of the pains that arise. We try to become aware of the pleasures that arise. We try to become aware of the state of mind that arises with those pleasures and pains. We try to see how, when we feel a pain in our knee or in our leg or wherever it might be, that anger arises or some negative mental state arises caused by that. We try to become aware of the negative mental states when they arise, the states like anger, hatred, like like greed, like confusion, like tiredness, and so on. We try to become aware also of positive mental states when they arise, states of metta, of kindness, of friendliness, of compassion, of wisdom, when we notice it arising in ourselves. And this can help us in day-to-day life, because insofar as we are unaware of our own anger, of our own negative mental states, we're more likely to act out on them. If in getting to work we have a bad experience with somebody, we maybe bump into somebody on the street and get into an argument, or somebody cuts us off in traffic, or the bus is delayed or something, then when we get to work, we may get there with a mind that is infused with anger that has nothing to do with the people we're talking with now, but nevertheless, it may be the sort of thing that makes the day start off badly. On the other hand, if we're aware of the fact that we're angry, if we're aware of it in a very real and immediate way, we may be able to take time to calm ourselves down, or just to tell people when we arrive at our destination, boy, I'm in a really bad mental state right now, because of whatever happened to me on the way. So it can make our lives more skillful in that sense, just simply being aware of the mind. Another thing that mindfulness meditation can do for us is to be more directly aware of the arising and passing away of states. It makes us aware that pleasures and pains, hatred, greed, our desire for ownership of things are states that arise and pass every moment of the day. Oftentimes when we're caught in states like hatred or like greed, wanting something, there's a sense we'll never be free of this desire for this particular object until we actually own it. The anger that we have towards so-and-so is simply a fact of life that will never change. And one of the things that mindfulness meditation can help us to understand is that that's not true. That all of these things arise based on causes and conditions, and that all of these things will pass away, even if we don't do anything about them. The hatred will eventually dissipate. The desire to own whatever it happens to be that day, if we don't get it, it'll eventually dissipate and something else will take its place. Mindfulness meditation can be a way of cultivating wisdom, a wisdom about the constant changing nature of the world, the constant changing nature of our own minds. I think these should be seen as the two major forms of meditation that we find in the early Buddhist context, the Pali Canon, the kind that the Buddha might himself have actually taught and practiced. Probably it's the case that later forms of Buddhist meditation can be seen as aspects of these two major forms. These are also, if you're familiar with the Eightfold Path, the formalized description of Buddhist practice, these constitute the last two aspects of that path: right mindfulness and right concentration. I hope that little introduction to early Buddhist meditation was useful for you, and I hope it sort of puts a little bit in context some of the practices that you might be doing right now, no matter what kind of meditation you normally do. If you have any comments or questions, please feel free to put them in the comment section below the video. I'm always interested in reading whatever you have to comment about, or any questions you might have, particularly if you have any topics that you'd like me to cover in these videos. Always interested in hearing what kinds of topics interest you, what kinds of topics you'd like me to cover. So again, thanks so much for taking your time to watch the video, and I will catch you on the next one. Thanks a lot.